going on, guys? It's Heath Legend here with another video, and today I thought, given the DNC is happening as we speak for the next few days, I thought we'd speak about something that's bothered me for quite a while, and that is the notion of the strong black woman. And what's really got me to speak about this is Michelle Obama's speech at the DNC.
A lot of struggle and injustice and work left to do. And who we choose as our president in this election will determine whether or not we honor that struggle and chip away at that injustice and keep alive the very possibility of finishing that work.
When Michelle Obama endorsed Joe Biden as the Democratic nominee to go head-to-head against Donald Trump for the US presidential election, I thought it was quite interesting, really, watching Michelle Obama, wax lyrical about how Joe Biden's been in politics for a number of years. He served as the VP to her husband, Barack Obama. But what I found really, really interesting is, as a mixed race person, a biracial person, if I explain to you a little something about who I am, I'm someone that does indeed look white with a tan. However, I do have a mother who is half, but overcompensates. And when I say that, I mean she looks at herself and presents herself and acts as a black woman and no way white. So I find it really interesting when women who frame themselves as strong black women do so in the sense that they still outwardly project that they're victims in terms of they're strong, they lead the community, but somehow they get away with telling the world that they're oppressed in some way and that they're rebelling against that oppression.
And as white people, we even the poorest of the poor, I feel, still has a leg up. And it's
and
really
the leg up is what I was saying. You still have your whiteness. That's what the term white privilege is. It means that whiteness still gives you an advantage no matter what.
Michelle Obama started by saying that she loves the country of the United States, but I'll give her credit. She's an amazing orator. She's very, very good at talking, much, much better than I am. But she's also very good at talking bull, saying a lot of half-truths and, quite frankly, saying a lot of lies, especially when it comes to comparing her husband Barack Obama's presidency to Donald Trump's presidency. She said that Trump was the wrong guy.
So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head.
She used a lot of emotive language in order to mobilize her base. And it's what I wanted to address, really, because it's a bit of a scattergun approach that I'm going to take to this, really. But if we look at the way Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey have recently been at front and center of the woke movement, of the black oppression movement, you'll be able to see that they use a lot of emotive language.
I was going to say, and then I'll let you answer it. White people, there are white people who are not as powerful as the system of white people, the caste system that's been put in place, but they still, no matter where they are on the rung or the ladder of success, they still have their whiteness.
In order to mobilize their base, whether that's black Americans, African Americans, or liberal whites who live white guilt complex. For instance, Michelle Obama started her speech by saying that the United States was on a journey that this current vote would be one that they could complete if her base, Democratic voters, voted for the Democratic Party and for Joe Biden.
There's a lot of beauty in that story. There's a lot of pain in it too. A lot of struggle and injustice and work left to do. And who we choose as our president in this election will determine whether or not we honor that struggle and chip away at that injustice and keep alive the very possibility of finishing that work.
Now, a lot of people won't question that. They'll say, "Oh yeah, we need to finish this project of progressiveness." However, her husband was the president of the United States for 2 terms, I might add. They were the incumbent of the White House for 2 terms. What do the Democratic base think is their end goal? Black people can be the president. They can be actors, sports players, doctors, nurses. They can serve in the military. They can go on holiday. They can own guns. They can own land. They can drive. They can serve in the police force. They can serve in the fire department. They can do all of these things and nobody's stopping them. The only way they would ever get stopped, especially now where diversity quotas are a thing, is their attitude. That is it. The only thing that would stop them from succeeding is their own attitude. And I don't even mean bad attitude either. I mean, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, you look at grafters, whether it's Trump, whether it's Obama, whether it's Michelle Obama, whether it's YouTubers like PewDiePie, Anthony Brown Logan, people that I look up to like him, Brandon Tatum. What unifies every single one of them if it's not their policies or what they do? Every single morning they wake up ready to work. Every single morning they get up knowing that the thoughts they had the night before are going to turn them to going through their day. How many times have you out there thought to yourself, "Oh, I'm gonna message that friend I haven't spoken to for a few months tomorrow," and you feel brave, you feel good about it, and the next day comes, you wake up and you can't be bothered. This is what unites successful people from non-successful people. And I've noticed that Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey have used a lot of emotive language in order to tell their base. It's so important.
I am one of a handful of people living today who have seen firsthand the immense weight and awesome power of the presidency. And let me once again tell you this: the job is hard.
Michelle Obama then went on to say that the presidency is a difficult job, it's a hard job, and that there are no perfect presidents. She said that part when she was speaking about Biden. But up until this point, she came across like she thought that the Obama administration was as perfect as can be. But you have to look at that and think to yourself, if the presidency is a hard job, why has she got no sympathy for Donald Trump whatsoever? And this is all bipartisanship, all of it, because I guarantee the Obamas have been better off under Donald Trump as well, given his tax cuts and whatnot. I guarantee you they're more financially better off. And now wokeness pays, victimhood pays. You couldn't really run that narrative when Obama was in power. As the president, you couldn't really run that argument. But now Trump's in power. We've got to remember, Trump used to be a Democratic donor as well. So only since he started running for Republican side of things has it come out that he's some sort of racist. It's mad because she then said that the perfect president, their words, they will move markets and they'll broker peace.
A president's words have the power to move markets. They can start wars or broker peace.
Has Trump not done that? Up until the whole situation of 2020, won't go into the names of those things, but was the US economy not breaking records quarter after quarter, month after month? Did Trump not broker peace with North Korea as much as you can? Has Trump not tried in the past to smooth over relations with China while still bringing business back to the United States and to the West? has Trump not just broken a historic peace deal for Israel, or at least been a part of it? I'm not saying he was my grandmaster of that, but has he not done that? So you must look, in terms of my own life, in the outside world I get treated like I'm white, but I've never grown up with my white family at all. I've always grown up in the half of my family that's black, and I've always been treated as black, other than the cousins that I had that didn't like me because I didn't look black. But that's another story for another day. So I see both sides of things. I've grown up poor, I've grown up with nothing, and I still don't fall into that victim complex, still don't fall for it. And it saddens me that people will look at Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey, the millions and billions in Oprah Winfrey's sense, and they'll think that they're a strong black woman.
It's real talk time.
Real talk, why?
Michelle Obama, for all of her qualifications, her biggest achievement is marrying well. And no one will take that away from me. Nobody. She's a great speaker. And I have no doubt outside of politics she may be a nice person. And perhaps her heart's in the right place. But at this time, all I can say is, despite all of her degrees, her greatest achievement is marrying well. And her marrying well got her into the White House and got her affecting policy, such as when she affected, the food policies.
Big Mama Michelle don't know how to run a hen house. You ever ran a hen house? Big Mama Michelle cannot even run a hen house. And this woman saying Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing. They were in there 8 years. And what did she do? Hoochie Mama all while she was there. And tried to tell you what to feed your children while they pinking out on barbecue and tamales and hamburgers. Big as a house.
That's the exact same privilege that she is now fighting against. Irrelevant of skin colour, that's the privilege that she's fighting against, apparently. Where people get inherent advantages based on who they know or who they're by or their environment. That's what she's claiming to be against. Same with Oprah Winfrey. She came from nothing. She apparently had a really bad upbringing, and now she's on her way to her $3 billion. She has her own TV network. How are these people oppressed? How do these people get believed? I don't understand. And I'll make it my place to make it right, really, and to show people there's an alternative point of view. And realistically, some of the things that Michelle Obama said were really disgusting, if I'm honest. It was a full-on power play against the Trump administration. I've got no real vested interest in this growing up in the UK and living in the UK. But it's quite frankly, some of the things she said were disgusting because the emotive language that she used it was very dismissive of half of the country. She said that as a black woman, there are a certain population of the country that won't listen to me.
Now, I understand that my message won't be heard by some people. We live in a nation that is deeply divided, and I am a black woman speaking at the Democratic Convention.
So she says she cares about the USA, but then totally disregards half of the country as plastering them as racist. That's basically what she's saying without using those words. She used her skin colour as a reasoning for believing half of the country won't believe her and won't listen to her because she's black. Now, to me, that's racist. That is racist. You're judging a whole group of people based on your preconceived notions. You're inferring their intent. Now, I'm just going to say this, yeah. I don't listen to Michelle Obama, not because she's black, but because she is a sanctimonious prick, to be quite honest. There's no other reason for it. If someone's a prick, I ain't going to listen to him. It's quite simple. But she says it's because of her skin colour. Because, think about that, because of her skin colour, despite there being no proof. Yeah, there may be some trolls on the internet that will email her, send her mail or whatever, say, oh yeah, you this, that and the third. But that's not everybody, and you should take everybody as they come. They claim to be progressive, they claim to be the party of open-mindedness, but yet they're so willing to paint people under a certain brush. They claim to be against some sort of systematic oppression, whilst their words systematically oppress others, systematically silence others. And they'll do a lot of Freudian transference as well, where someone will say, hold on a minute, I don't like you not because of your colour, but because of this. They'll say, oh no, you're just hiding. You're not being honest. And they change the narrative. And it's, all of her words were very, very emotive. She said that effectively a vote for the Democrats is a vote for a world where people like her can walk on the street without being fearful of being stopped or arrested.
Joe Biden wants all of our kids, no matter what they look like, to be able to walk out the door without worrying about being harassed or arrested or killed.
And she used the word murdered in context of people like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd.
As George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and a never-ending list of innocent people of color continue to be murdered.
Now, Breonna Taylor, the police report says that her boyfriend was a well-known drug dealer, and he opened fire on the police when they did a no-knock warrant, and he fired at them, so they rightfully fired back, and she was in the crossfire. With George Floyd, 2 or 3 autopsies have come through now. At least one of them have said it was a heart attack, and there was no crush on the larynx. The body cam footage is out, and he resisted arrest multiple times. His friend even said, stop resisting arrest. Nobody thinks that he deserved what he got. Absolutely nobody. Irrelevant of his crimes, nobody believed he deserved what he got. But in both of those cases, there is absolutely zero evidence of them being racially motivated. But it's people like Michelle Obama that they're basically molding that narrative because they say it's because of their skin colour, therefore it must be accepted. And if my role of anything in this world, it's going to be pointing out this bull, because quite frankly, you should not be able to say it's because of my skin colour that this is happening as a first port of call. You can have that in your list of reasons, but don't make it the reason, because deep down, people like Michelle Obama know it's not because of their skin colour. They know that because they've succeeded. If they held those views, they succeeded in spite of those views. And once you succeed in something, surely as a successful person, you then start to think to yourself, okay, then maybe it's not that. You're a successful person, you know how to think on your feet. Surely people like Michelle and Barack now know that even in spite of the environment they may have grown up in, people don't necessarily have those views en masse anymore. But she still propagates that.
And a never-ending list of innocent people of color continue to be murdered.
You have to look at that and say that Michelle Obama deliberately, or her scriptwriters, they deliberately used the word murdered when it comes to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Michelle Obama is a university-educated lawyer, and she, even if she doesn't deal with criminal litigation, I'm not sure what she practiced in, but even if she doesn't deal with criminal litigation, she will know that the definition of words are very, very important. And I'm going to read the definition of murder now, and you'll see how her decontextualizing that word for effect will really, really play on the emotional heartstrings of her voter base. As a UK-based guy, I don't know the best avenue to go down in order to get the legal definition of murder, but I am just using Wikipedia. But I'll read them for you and I'll flash them up on the box. First degree murder. Any intentional murder that is willfully premeditated with malice aforethought, felony murder, a charge that may be filed against the defendant who is involved in a dangerous crime where a death results from the crime, is typically first degree, and second degree murder, any intentional murder with malice aforethought but is not premeditated or planned in advance. You cannot say that George Floyd died as a result of either of those. Now, in the state of Minnesota, where George Floyd was killed, obviously you've got third degree murder as well. And I think what they're doing is they're using the definition of murder very, very loosely, because even the common man understands that murder, there must be some sort of premeditated motive behind it. Even if you're in a gunfight against someone that you don't know, you're firing at them in order to kill them before they kill you. Whereas Chauvin didn't do that at all. I don't think any of the evidence can suggest in good conscience that he did that in order to kill. So the maximum I think you could paint him as is negligent manslaughter. Yet the Democrats are using the word murder in order to add to the further behind the George Floyd death, despite the body cam footage coming out. And it's really, really irresponsible of people like Oprah Winfrey to try and cash in on the woke crowd and white privilege and white guilt. And then also people like Michelle Obama then propagating this notion that black people and other ethnic minorities are being oppressed by a system, and they must be because Michelle Obama says so. That's what I'm getting at. These strong black women are only strong when it suits them. They, like my mother, for instance, she'll act like she's the baddest woman on the planet, but then when it suits her, she's a victim. And look at Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey. By and large, undoubtedly, some of the most successful women that have ever lived. Quite frankly, they are literally two of the most successful women that have ever lived, two of the most influential women that have ever lived up until this point in time on this planet. Yet somehow a bum on the street, a white bum, a white veteran on the street begging for some change, because he's white, he has more privilege than them, and he's in some way oppressing them because somehow the laws benefit him more. Well, quite frankly, I think he'd trade in his white privilege gladly to be an old black woman with $2 billion in the bank. I'm pretty sure he'd trade in his white card straight away to be Oprah Winfrey. I probably would as well. I'd have less miles on the clock, of course, because she's 3 times my age, but, you know, it's just, again, I always say this, it's astounding, because their voter base and the people that they're talking to, they won't question this. They won't question it at all. And the problem lies from the fact that these women, they know that. They know that the people won't question them. This is the same party that that got Cardi B to interview a presidential candidate. This lady can barely string 2 sentences together, yet she's interviewing a presidential candidate.
You know what? If I kill somebody, I gotta go to jail. You gotta go to jail too.
That'd be like, I don't know, Stone Cold Steve Austin interviewing Donald Trump. And Stone Cold Steve Austin's a much better orator than Cardi B. He can speak much better than she can, and he has his own podcast. But even that would be outrageous on the campaign trail, really. But the Democrats know how dumb their voter base is, and that's what it is. I'm not saying that to be insulting towards that voter base either. I'm telling you, the Democratic Party think you are dumb. They think you are stupid, and they're relying on the stupidity that they think you have. And if I can help one person wake up, that'll be great. That'll be worth my time, because that one person can spread to others. The Democratic Party and people like Oprah Winfrey, who have made successes, people like Michelle Obama that are successful people, they are relying on your lack of critical thinking. Believe that. She said that Donald Trump is a president with absolutely no empathy, and that's what the Democratic Party represent, having empathy about walking in people's shoes. And to justify that, she again used the whole race card, which is what it is, really, the race card. And she brought up Charlottesville.
They see our leaders labeling fellow citizens enemies of the state while emboldening torch-bearing white supremacists.
She didn't in her words, but when she said that the current incumbent president emboldens white supremacists, that was a downright lie. That was a lie. There's so many videos talking about this point. You know, Anthony Brian Logan and Brandon Tatum have talked about this a lot. And Brandon Tatum did a really, really good video, and I'll probably link that because it was really, really good. The media totally decontextualized that. Donald Trump outright, he outright disavowed the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists that were at Charlottesville. He absolutely disavowed them. He absolutely condemned them. What more do you want?
So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
At the end of the day, he can't pick and choose who supports him. He can't tell someone, you can't support me. Because even if he did, they'd do it out of spite. People must understand that. He can only condemn them. That's all he can do. His rhetoric isn't, I don't like certain people. And, you know, if you ask liberals as well, give me an example of when he's been racist. Give me an example. They'll always come up with the decontextualized animals coming across the border. Yet, that footage was decontextualized because what he said before was he was referring to the gangs and the people smugglers. He then said they're not sending their best people. Therefore, he's acknowledging that people in Mexico, there are a lot of good people in Mexico, but unfortunately, a lot of the people that are going over the borders are not the good ones. And it's like in any country, it's like in any community, there's always going to be good people and always going to be bad people. Michelle Obama then started moaning about mail-in ballots and the furor that's come up with regards to that, and saying that Donald Trump's trying to rig the election or prevent people from participating in the election.
Because right now, folks who know they cannot win fair and square at the ballot box are doing everything they can to stop us from voting. They're closing down polling places in minority neighborhoods. They're purging voter rolls. They're sending people out to intimidate voters, and they're lying about the security of our ballots. We've got to vote early, in person if we can. We've got to request our mail-in ballots right now, tonight, and send them back immediately, and follow up to make sure they're received, and then make sure our friends and families do the same.
When really, Donald Trump's point is, if you can go and riot, if you can go to Walmart, if you can wear a mask and go to the movies, then if you can do all of those things, then why can't you go out and vote? If your vote against Trump is so important, you'll walk through hell and high water to do it. The Democrats they're not condemning riots and protests. They're saying it's totally fine. But then the same people are saying, oh, it's too unsafe to stand in a line and go and vote. Donald Trump's not trying to rig the election. The Democrats are. There's proof positive out there that dead people, pets, people that no longer live in certain residences are getting mail-in ballots sent to them. And if somebody hates Donald Trump so much, they're going to be dedicated to filling in as many of those mail-in ballots as possible to get those votes counted. And of course, you can say the same thing about Republicans as well. Donald Trump's trying to avoid that by making sure it's one vote for one person. It's really, really not a hard concept to grasp. But the Democrats, again, are relying on their voter base being dumb, being without critical thinking. As I close as well, the reason why I lumped Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama together as two very, very, very successful women who would classify themselves as strong black women is this notion of this duality of systematic racism and white privilege. And I find it interesting that these people, they say these liberal university buzzwords and phrases such as systematic racism, and they constantly sprinkle their rhetoric with systematic racism.
And when the horrors of systemic racism shook our country and our consciences, millions of Americans of every age, every background rose up to march for each other.
But they never actually provide a tangible, from start to finish, definition and example of it. They'll say, well, George Floyd was died as a result of systematic racism, but they won't actually say where where his responsibility is not there. Because let's be frank, if he didn't have drugs in his system and he wasn't trying to pay with a fake bill twice, he wouldn't have been in that position. So was it systematic racism to arrest him and detain him on the floor when he asked to be? Or does the systematic racism come into the fact that there is a law there that prevents him from using fake bills? Or is the systematic racism that he didn't have enough spending money in his back pocket to be able to buy things without using fake bills? Or does he go back even further than that, and instead should it have been that, I don't know, African people went and colonized America instead, so black people have the majority of the quote unquote power in the USA? Where does it start? Where does it finish? Where does individual responsibility come in? Where does it come in? Because they won't provide a definitive definition of what it is. If systematic racism is such a problem, and it's more of a problem than people's own self-responsibility, self-attitude, self-determination, and lifestyle choices, if those things don't have any relevance in comparison to systematic racism, how did people like Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama and Barack Obama become successful? How is it that in a country, and in multiple Western countries, how is it that systematic racism doesn't negatively affect Asian people? And no one cares. It's fascinating to me because people, the victims in the UK and the US, they'll say, oh, white people are racist. But those same racist white people that they're talking about apparently exist. They don't care that the Chinese are outdoing them in their own countries. They don't care that the Japanese and the Koreans are working in STEM fields and engineering. They don't care, because those careers are noble. That's where I don't understand what it is, because those successful Asians, the quote unquote racist white people don't care about them at all. They don't care that they're being outperformed in their own country, both in terms of education and business acumen and financial success. They don't care. So surely behavior and lifestyle choices do make a very, very big impact, but they'll keep saying this word systematic racism because they want to prey on their voter base as dumb, and people have got to wake up. It's time to wake up. Once again, guys, I'm only just starting. I'm finding my voice. I think I'm getting better, but do help me by liking, commenting, and subscribing, because I really, really do appreciate it. And I do want to contribute to the fight against the radical left. I do really, really want to contribute to the fight against the radical left, because as a former liberal, I've seen where it's preyed on people and it has ruined people's lives in terms of the opportunities that they've squandered as a result of left-wing indoctrination and entitlement. So please do like, comment, and subscribe. I do appreciate it. Love to you all. Take care.